This lady in November, when I was in Morocco, saved my life.
Both my parents were highly fertile. Mum had 9 pregnancies, but there's only 4 of us alive.
Ladies and gents, welcome back to another YouTube, and this is going to be going on at Rumble as well. Now, for those of you that are questioning, yes, I got a ban on YouTube, which is why my full moon video has been late, and which is why I wasn't live on Monday. However, I have been filming behind the scenes, and today I'm joined with the beautiful Jacqueline Hope, who has come here to share her absolute wisdom on a subject that is very dear to my heart. However, before I give Jacqueline the space to introduce herself properly and, you know, give us a little bit of backstory, I just have to acknowledge this lady for something that she did for me in November, and she had no idea until we got on this call today. And I have been searching for her and looking for her until this now moment to get hold of her details to be able to say thank you. This lady in November, when I was in Morocco, saved my life. There was something that was destined for me, that Jackie's very beautiful, sweet soul, her mothering, and you will learn all about that in a minute, her grandmother, just this energy that she has that is of a very protective nature. She basically committed to doing something that would save my life. And I'm not going to give any more details than that because it's not necessary, but I have to just say thank you from the deepest parts of my soul, Jackie, because you allowed the mission to continue, even though you've been on probably the worst 6-7 months of your life based on you making that unconscious decision. So I just want to say thank you and welcome to my beautiful community.
You're very welcome. And obviously, because I'm now this age, I'm 72 years of age, what you have to say is, my God, girl, you don't look it.
You
I
don't.
mind being a lie, I just want to hear it.
You don't. And Jacqueline, the thing that I love about you is even after that accident that you had, you were still there giving it some in Morocco, and, you know, and it was just amazing. And you are a phenomenal goddess. You are a force to be reckoned with. You genuinely are. And I know, because I'm going to help you do it, I know off the back of this reconnection and this gratitude and this love, like I have a love for you, like you are my mother, like you are my grandmother, that kind of thing, genuinely. I know I'm going to work with you and help you heal the energetics of your wrist so you heal a lot quicker.
Fantastic. Because what society needs to do is actually to go back to to being proud of who we are as women. We need to honor the maid who isn't pregnant yet. We need to honor the mother, and we need to honor the crone. This role has been denigrated by society. The crone was the person that had all the wise woman of the tribe. People came to her, what's this rash on my baby? And she would tell you, the crops aren't growing, why not? We had the knowledge. Somebody asked me, when do you think that changed? I said, Google. As soon as you could go to Google, then anybody of this age group and more had nothing to teach their young ones. Yes. And we need to go back to that. We have survived. Yeah. I laughingly tell you my age, because when I look in the mirror, I'm like, I know you. I'm not 72 in my head. Yeah. And I swim in the ocean at 6 a.m. with a group. And my age group, I get all sniffy because I no longer hang around with them. And they say, well, what's that group giving you that we're not? I say, where else could I hug semi-naked young men at my age and get away with it?
Jackie!
But I can honor the men, because the guys are working out. When I'm giving them hugs, I'm like, wow, you're looking really good. You've been at the gym, haven't you? And they're like little 3-year-old boys like this. Oh, but I'm no threat to them, so I can say it.
Yeah.
Yeah, or I'll say to them, put it down today, what's going on? They're like, oh, well, I haven't got access to my kids and blah, blah, blah. And then that's what I'm doing. I'm nurturing them. I'm going, look, you're a good person. You're going to be the daddy of this child for the rest of its life. You can always love this child. You don't have to be in its energy 24/7. just keep thinking. So the role is really precious that we have diverted. It's been deliberate. Let's destroy the family. Let's destroy connection. And because I am Pachamama, when I volunteered as midwife in Peru in 2011, and this is the symbol for Pachamama, Earth Mother.
So let's just go back a little bit, Jackie, because like I love that we're having this beautiful divine feminine conversation and really bringing that essence, and I can feel all of the women's wombs starting to go, oh my God, this is what we needed. I can feel the men starting to allow their inner child to start to be healed, like, because I'm really feeling it when I'm speaking to you. But let's just take a step back, because you, as much as you are this wise, and I'm going to call you an elder, but I don't mean you're an elder, you know, I mean from a wisdom perspective, you are an elder, and that this is why I'm so grateful for you to taking the time to speak to me. But like, where did this journey start for you? I know you are a mother, and I know you've been on a huge journey, but you are so connected to the birthing process, and you know the way you speak about bringing these souls from the divine through the woman's portal. You know, let's give people a little bit of clarity on that, because you know I could speak to you all day about this.
Okay, well, I was born in Dublin, Irish father, English mother, and so I can go into the brogue there anytime you like, you know. And I didn't know that I had an accent because I was brought up in Birmingham, because everybody else spoke like me. I knew my dad had an accent, but not me. And my mother, because she was, my dad said, you have to become Catholic if we're going to get married. And Mum always said she converted to North Sea gas, because she was C of E, so never went anywhere. But both my parents were highly fertile. Mum had 9 pregnancies, but there's only 4 of us alive. She had undiagnosed twins born at home that died, stillbirth. She had an anencephalic baby, which is totally awful. This is an abnormality where there's no skull here at all. So you've got the soft brain, but no skull. Whilst the baby is growing inside you, because the placenta's feeding the baby, it can keep growing, but it cannot sustain life because the breathing centers aren't there. Because of the technology then, you could only have an X-ray. So on the X-ray, they saw there was no skull. Thank God, and this is all in my book, and we'll talk about that in a bit. Thank God she went to an enlightened priest who allowed them to bring the pregnancy on, because there was no way it was viable. That my father was told, the choice is, do you want us to save the mother or the child? So that was the Catholic wisdom at the time, that you saved the child. Now, how stupid is that? Because the other children needed their mother. Exactly. But anyway, so obviously the baby was born. And Mum, I believe, and I think, so she had a student midwife when she was pregnant with the twins, who had palpated her tummy and was listening with the Pinard stethoscope, the plastic tubing. You can actually use a toilet roll. You can use animal bone or horn. That's what they used to use, and this was plastic. And she'd said to her, the midwife, I think I can hear 2 heartbeats. And she went, don't be ridiculous, girl. It's just the one baby. See, that arrogance. So it was undiagnosed twins. And Mum always said she had the same baby over and over again, the Dempsey Irish baby. And the other little twin looked like her. Oh. And so I truly and honestly believe, I didn't know this on an intellectual level, but when I then left school, I worked as a nursery nurse with children. So I've been this earth mother forever. And then I moved up to Lancashire and I worked in a special care baby unit. And obviously the babies came from the maternity unit. So I was asking questions all the time. What does LSCS mean? Lower segment cesarean section. What's forceps? I was asking these questions, and I decided, so I didn't think I was very bright, that I didn't know if I was intelligent enough to be a direct entry midwife, but I'd like to give it a go. So I became a midwife, but I know what I did was that I mothered my mother with the mothers, because Mum told me how terrifying childbirth was, how she was so scared to go to hospital, scared of birth. So I would love these women and rock them, and be really very tactile with both her partners, but the woman. And then when she birthed, I'd be like, oh, yeah, hi. Because that's what I was doing. I was mothering my mother. Yeah, and making this road to birth safe for them. When I had my own children, because spirit is so mean, it's got a sense of humor, I ended up having an emergency cesarean section with my son, because they told me that the baby was too big and all the fear that they do. And because you've had one section, what they call is a trial of labor. They give you 6 hours from start to finish. If you don't birth, then they'll section you again. So with my daughter, I had forceps. So can you see that? So I remember, and again, I'll tell you about the book later, but I'm at this fabulous birth, 4 o'clock in the morning. We'd had the most beautiful birth, and I'm writing the notes up, the damn notes. And the second midwife who comes in to keep your badge safe, so I truly believe the woman really doesn't need you. She can birth her baby in her own energy, but I'm there for the tiny percent of time and it doesn't go okay. But when that second midwife walked through the door, I'd be like, I love you, because you're keeping my badge safe. Anyway, so I'm writing away at my notes. She's drinking her tea, 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm buggered. And I said, oh, wasn't that a fabulous birth? She went, yeah, it was really magical. So I'm writing. I said, I wonder why it wasn't allowed for me. And she went, I believe you just said that. I went, oh. She said, why do you think the universe gave you the births that you have? She said, if you'd squatted up to the corner going, and spat this baby out, you wouldn't be the lioness for this woman that stands at the door with the doctor, because on the doors they have a notice that says knock before entry. Well, the doctors would knock and walk in. So I'd run across the room, put my hand up the door and go, hello, darling, what can I do for you? And they go, how dilated is she? I said, well, first of all, her name's Lucy. And her cervix hasn't read your policies and procedures, so it doesn't know it's got to dilate within a certain percentage of time.
I love you.
But if you'd like to know, does she ever want to do this again? Is she coping with the pains? Are all her vital signs fine? Is the baby coping with this? I can tell you all that. The last thing you need to know is how dilated she is. So why don't you get yourself a nice cup of tea and toast, and I'll see you later. Bye. And shut the door. So I've been universally
more of you, Jackie.
So I've been universally loved by my families in the 4 countries in the world that I've been a midwife, and hated by the management, which suits me fine. What
I love is how you've taken your generational trauma from your mother and you've turned it into something that you've witnessed and that you've embraced and that you've been able to go, I'm going to make a difference in the world with this. Jacqueline, that is so inspirational.
Like, and here I am at 72. Wouldn't you think it's time I took up the crocheting and whatever?
No, we don't need you to do that, Jacqueline. Exactly. There's so many women now that are older that are looking to go through birth, and they need people like you with the wisdom, which is why they've waited till this moment. You know, I'm one of those people. I've made it no secret that I intend to have a child, and you know, like, this is why I love the way that you explain this, because I can't give birth in a normal hospital.
No,
I cannot do that normality because it doesn't resonate with me.
And women of your age will say, am I too old to have a baby? I say, if your body got you pregnant, you must have thought that was a good idea. You're a fit, healthy person. The age now is not relevant to how we used to be aging. You can do this because everything is in the mind, isn't it? It's all in the mind. Absolutely. But I volunteered as a midwife in Peru in 2011, and that was an adventure. So I have a very low boredom threshold, because and in between being a midwife, working full time with my kids, swanning off to Peru, I was a marriage celebrant for 10 years. Because again, that's the whole picture, mind, body, spirit. Yeah,
I didn't know that about you. That's beautiful.
Yeah, my business was called Love Infinity Celebrant, no beginning, no end.
Yeah.
And in 2013, I worked in a children's home in Kathmandu, and unofficially adopted 2 children, a boy and a girl, like mine. And Luna, bless her, I helped to become a diabetic educator, and she's now 21, so she didn't get married at 15. She didn't have a rake of kids. She has a career in front of her. And bless her, I tried, Australian government, I tried to bring her out on a holiday visa. $150, they turned her down the first time because they said they believed she would overstay her welcome. So the second time we did statutory declarations, me saying I will put her on the plane, her saying she will get on the plane, and they've turned her down again. So that's $300 wasted.
Wow.
Which I don't have. But what she's doing, she's going to go and work in Saudi Arabia, because what she wants to do is earn her own money so she can come out to Australia on a student visa, which she will pay for, because she said, Mama, I want to nurse you in your old age, because she gave me my life.
Oh, Jacqueline, that's so beautiful. And you don't realize the sign that you've just given me about that name as well. Like, honestly, that's so, so, so beautiful. And we're actually talking on the full moon. Like, there is no more important period in the lunar cycle than what is happening today. So that's really, you are such a beautiful soul. And this mother, this natural mother that you are, is just a gift.
Yeah. Well, my beautiful boy, Mahesh, who calls himself MB now, because it's Pasha, he wanted to be a actor and a film director. So when he's sitting in the home, this sulky teenager, I said to Mahesh, what do you want to do when you leave school? So he looked at me, he was like, I suppose I'll have to talk to this old woman, because they call you Diddy, it means auntie, wise one. So he looked at me and said, oh, Diddy, I would like to be an actor. So I said, really, Mahesh, so why would you like to be an actor? And if you'd have said, I want to marry Angelina Jolie and I want a Porsche, I would have ignored him. But overrunning my tale, I was assaulted on the ward and ended up with reconstructive surgery to my leg and in a wheelchair for 7 months. That's neither here nor there. And while I was bored stupid, I volunteered at a school that has 90% immigrants. And on a Tuesday, I used to do the film and media club, after school club. And on a Thursday, I did the teenage pregnancy club, which they had a creche on site to keep the girls so that they finished year 12, so that they would at least be able to have a job. And on Thursday, they taught them to be mothers. Anyway, so on the Tuesday, I'm driving back and we'd sit in the laboratories, they'd get the cameras out. It was with the Smith family, that's the volunteer group that I've worked with, and they do disadvantaged Australian children. Yeah. Anyway, the teacher would tell us what we're going to do, and they'd say, right, we're going down to the Oval, we're going to film whatever's going on down there. And while we were down there, the kids would go, Miss, what was the aperture that I've got to use for this camera? And I'd say, look, it's no good me telling you, because then I'll know. Think of the word. What did teachers say? What number comes to your mind? And they go, oh, yeah, that's right. I'm going to do. I'll try that and see if it works. Anyway, I'm driving home and I'm like, why the hell are you doing this, Jacqueline? For goodness sake, you're not interested in this at all. And it's a long way. It's wasting your petrol. Why are you going? So I'm like, well, I've been sitting and watching daytime TV. So now when this young man is saying to me, I want to be an actor, he said, so that's interesting. Why do you want to do this, Mahesh? And he said, well, Diddy, I want to make films in my Nepalese language, because our films come from Bollywood. He said, I want to tell my people's story in our language. I said, really? That's very impressive. So I said, that's impressive, Mahesh. He said, Diddy, I've made a film. Do you want to see it? So I said, I would love to. So off he goes and he gets this DVD and he puts it into the steam-driven computer that took, like, you could knit a vest by the time it loaded, and they've stolen the Wi-Fi from like 3 streets away. and he's written the film, he's directed it, he's the cameraman, and he's the actor. And it's all the kids from Shining Stars Children's Home. It had a beginning, a middle, and an end. So now I'm looking, I said, God, that's really good, Mahesh. You know, you did this scene here. Did you do a split screen and blah, blah, blah? He went, Diddy, how do you know these words? So, because Mahesh, for a year, they sent me to recognize your talent. Said, now, when I get back to Australia, I said, you can't be an actor, Mahesh, your English isn't good enough. But I will look at you doing a film and media course, and we'll get you out and we'll do that. So when I come home, I'm telling my son, right, I've inquired at the local technical and further education college. It's 10,000 Australian dollars for him to do this course. He's got to be 18. So I'm going to take that out the mortgage and pay for him to do this course. He went, oh, I think that's very sensible, Mum. I said, I wasn't asking you permission, son. I'm telling you that when I die and you get this house, you're getting it minus the 10,000 for him, because I've given you everything I possibly could. And this boy deserves a life as well as you've had.
So beautiful.
So, but because this is what the universe wanted, it was 10,000 the first year, 12,000 the second, then it went up to 18,000. I just could not put that much money, but I helped him to become a videographer and media person in Nepal. And this is how the universe works. This group that I swim in the ocean at 6 o'clock every morning with, one of the young men, Kyle, he and his partner went to Nepal and did base camp at Everest and then the Annapurna Trail, and he was their videographer.
Oh, how beautiful.
They got to meet my children, and they were so excited to meet Mama's friends.
Oh, that's so beautiful. And this is just the perfection. And actually, you know, Jackie, more than, like, obviously, I'm going to have to get you back to talk about other stuff, but this is a conversation that is so needed about trusting, surrendering, even though when it's not making any sense, the divine has your back. Like, it will always bring you into full circle. You've been through hell for the last 7 months with your wrist, right?
More.
Yes. Yeah. You know, like, it's been absolute hell. Like, but now, this morning, off the back of our conversation, although you had some information from somebody previously, like, now you've got complete clarity on the situation, and I'm not sure it's going to make you feel any better or take away the pain, but it's given an insight that you are part of God's plan. If you'd forgotten it in that moment, then you've been reminded it big time.
It really did. No, it has made clarity, because at this point in time, as we speak, my beautiful daughter has not had contact for 20 years. And now my son's not speaking to me. And that's okay, because what this is, and I honestly, over the last 7 months, I've really been cross with them and said, why didn't you just wipe me out in that accident? I'm done. I'm exhausted.
Well, we're going to stop that from here, right?
But can you see how I don't need to birth a daughter to be a mother to her, Lucy?
Exactly. And do you know, I've got a really beautiful team that I work with to do all of the, you know, the work that we were talking about before we came on camera, and all of them know that you are the mother, the grandmother energy that plucked me from a situation where I shouldn't have been here, Jackie, because if I was sat in exactly the same place that you were, and if that had happened, I would have gone through the window, 100%.
Yes, oh, absolutely.
And that was the intended outcome of it.
And of the people in that car, the driver and the other 3 went away with that, not one mark on them. That was phenomenal. That was phenomenal.
And I was sat in exactly the same seat that you were sat in, and I was the next
had it
car.
Hit the driver, he would have been killed, and it would have rolled, and everybody would have been injured.
Exactly.
So I'm grateful for that. That if that's what if this is my declining years and that was what helped, I'm good with that. I'm good with that. And
you're not going anywhere, my love, not for a while yet. You know, I'm coming over to Perth yet.
I don't like Spiritualist Church personally. It's too religiously. I don't like it. But last Saturday, I was meeting someone and she said, look, we're going to why don't you come and have coffee with us first? I thought, I might go to this blooming meeting and see if they've got any messages for me, So I keep asking for guidance, and they're very deaf at the minute. They're not listening. So here I am. I'm in the church. I'm singing my little heart out, thinking, nah, this is really not for me. Don't like this. And as they're collecting the books, I'm giving these older people their books like this. This old man tapped me on the shoulder like this, and he said, you've got many more years to be here. I mean, thank you very much, I think.
And then
like,
your little,
told.
and then your little surrogate daughter over here appears. Hi, just as a reminder, you are
so I know
part
you
of
said,
a great plan.
yeah. So I know you said that you're gonna have to wind up. But so now what I'm doing, here I am at this great age. I'm now, as you know, People's Health Alliance, which was set up by Catherine McBean, has just had its first birthday, 23rd of April. They were 1 year old. It's gone to I think 30 countries in the world now, and we came to Perth in August. I went along to it, we'd seen her video, went for a coffee session, and of course ended up on the core team. So I'm wearing 3 hats. I'm the media and PR person because I can rabbit. I'm the volunteer support person for the volunteers, and I'm now the Australian ambassador for Empowered Birth, darling.
Hey! Now
Because
let's just back up a minute, right? Because this is really exciting stuff. So my understanding, and I don't know a lot about it because I've kind of stepped away from all of that stuff of recent, but the People's Health Alliance is basically a community of people. I believe it started in the UK.
Yes.
So
Because
a
you
group of
destroyed the
people,
NHS.
yeah, a group of people came together and they were like, we're not standing for this anymore.
Yes.
We're going to bring the awakened people
Yeah.
together and offer services and offer
Yes.
a different approach to the way that the health system has gone over recent years. Is
What
that fair
they
to
said
say?
was there's absolutely no point trying to fix this corrupt, broken system, which is pharmaceutical based. Pharmaceuticals never healed anybody. Why would you? It's a really crappy business method. If I give you this pill and you get better, you're never coming back. So they went, forget it. We will, and what we're trying to do is build a bridge between allopathic medicine and holistic modalities. Because of this wrist in Morocco, I was told by 5 doctors that I had to go to surgery. I had to have this wrist plated, right? So when I get back to Australia, I go to the local emergency department. They take another x-ray. And they said, yep, we'll put you on the emergency treatment list tomorrow to have your wrist plated. When I'm sitting in day surgery, I've got the 2 voices sitting on my shoulders here. This voice, my higher self, is saying, get up and run now. Do not let them give you general anesthetic. You will not wake up, which felt quite lovely, actually. And do not let them put metal in your body. You had metal in your body before, you had to have it taken away. Don't let them do it. Yeah. This voice is going, you arrogant madam. This is 5 doctors who've told you need this surgery. For once in your goddamn life, do as you're told.
Yeah.
So now the guy comes and he said, I'm taking you down for an x-ray. I said, I had one yesterday. He said, no, we're going to do the right wrist to have a comparison. So, and he said, and you're having a CAT scan. So I'm like, CAT scan? Small spaces? I don't like lifts. When we get down to I'm like, you really are pushing me now. When I get down to the CAT scan, he said, do you think you could because the hair, you see, they talked to me like, do you think you could lie on your tummy and put your hand through the machine? I'm like, you betcha, mate, because I don't want it coming through my third eye. So I have the CAT scan, I come back up to surgery, and I'm waiting to be taken down to surgery, right? Still with these 2 voices going, get up and leave now, do as you're told. So in comes the hand surgeon, beautiful young man. So he sits down, he said, so Jacqueline, do you know that you have this bone, this funny bone that sticks off the end of your wrist? I said, yeah, it's called multiple exostosis. I've had it all my life. I've had loads of bones taken off. He went, brilliant. Everybody that's seen your wrist has seen that bone and thought that it's been broken from the inside out. They want to shove it in, plate it, and take you to theatre. He said, the CAT scan showing me your tendon is perfectly intact. If I try to push it in and plate it, now he said it in an ordinary voice, my spiritual voice heard, you might lose the use of your wrist. So he said, so I think we need to treat it conservatively and we won't do it. I said, does that mean I don't need surgery? He said, yes. I said, can I go home? He said, yes. I went, I love you. We have to listen to that voice. We have to listen.
Yeah, I love that story. I love that
amazing?
Story so much.
So yes, it's taken ages to heal, but again, I do believe I am holding some post-traumatic stress because if I hear a bang on the television or somebody flatters, I'm like this. So I do know that I've still got that trauma inside. And
I'd like to help you with that.
yes, and I know that, as I say, when we went to the broken body, because did you know they wanted to put the dead body in the ambulance next to me?
There.
It's the same hospital.
I was there, and
Yeah.
I went berserk. I was like, "That's not effing happening. This is disgusting. You can't do that." Like, I went berserk because I'm like, this woman has just taken this for me. I cannot have her doing that. Like, you know, I've just cancelled all the attachments that you had. I was like, no, this cannot happen. This cannot happen. Mark was like, I was like, don't let that happen.
And I was saying, yeah, okay, I'll just pray over it.
I know you were just like, oh, just get me out of here, because you were still in so much shock, Jackie.
Yes, I was.
Like, you know, when I was stood there speaking to you, and you were looking at straight in my eyes, and I was talking to you, and I was grounding you back in and everything. You weren't there.
No. What I remember is that I thought, well, you are. I thought you were an angel. I thought you were spirit, and I thought, oh, they're holding me. Okay, they want me to stay. Oh, well, okay, then we'll just do what to tell you. And that was the point. I very much didn't know what was going on. I really didn't, you know, and for most of the trip, I mean, the dancing for me was just, don't concentrate on the pain, just dance, just smile, hug people. Because while I was doing that, the energy of being hugged and loved by people transcended the pain. So that was good. That was good.
You know what I love though, Jackie, and this has just come through very, very clearly when you're speaking, is you've given life to so many people. Like, you have helped bring their babies into the world. You have helped so many. You've brought your own 2 babies into the world. You've taken on 2 adopted babies, you know. You also saved a life of somebody that hasn't been able to bring birth into this world yet, for a divine purpose. And I know that you did that so that I can birth when the time is right. So that you
will birth this child. And when I was in Peru, I don't just do little children. I unofficially adopted Jesus. No, don't you love that? Because that's Spanish for Jesus. and he wanted to get a teaching English as a second language certificate. So we would Skype, because that was the old thing then in 2011. He would Skype me his lessons, and I would correct them and send them back by email. And he never asked me for a penny. I would send him bits of money, which I don't have, so he could get paper and, you know, whatever. And the day, I wish I'd kept, the day that he had his certificate like this that he'd passed was amazing. And when he would speak to me, he'd say, te quiero mucho, muchísimo. I love you very much. I owe you a piece of my heart. He's so beautiful. And his beautiful story is now, because he would phone me up, he'd say, hello, Miss Jacqueline, because they don't say the J. Hello, Miss Jacqueline. It is Jesus. I am calling you from Peru. Like, I know Jesus. He'd say, I am sitting outside the cafe, whatever. And he'd say, wait, and I am stealing the wine pie. I'd say, Jesus, it's Y. Phi, there's no N. See, Y and phi. Like, no, there's no N. Anyway, he phoned me this one time, 6 o'clock in the morning. He said, Miss Jacqueline, I am very excited. I have good news for you. I said, that's marvelous, Jesus. What is it? He said, I will call you tomorrow. Anyway, he was telling me that he was the security guard at Maximo Novell, because I worked in the clinic in the morning, and then in the afternoon, I went to the Spanish classes. And the idea was that I was taught an hour's Spanish and I would teach an hour's English.
Beautiful.
And my Spanish was un poquito, a little bit, and it left with un poquito, but lots of this, do you know?
Same as mine.
And I have a very rude story, which I will tell you, and you can edit it out if you don't think it's appropriate on your thing. But one of the young girls, Tanya, who was teaching me Spanish, she wanted to work on board a cruise ship. So they all want to escape and earn money.
Yeah.
So she'd drawn a place setting like this. She said, can we work with this? I said, yeah, of course we can. So most of the 2 hours were spent teaching her English, because it's no afternoon for me. Buenas tardes, señorita. I don't need a birth, you know. Anyway, so she points to this place. She said, this is a fuck. I said, Tanya, we say pork. Pork. When you go on a cruise ship, don't ask any man if he wants to fuck. This is definitely not what you want to be saying. So she went, oh my God, so I will never say this. So then she pointed, she said, this is a kniffy. Said, we don't actually use the K in English, it's knife. She said, well, why he is there? I went, because English is bonkers.
Oh my God, that's so beautiful.
So Jesus eventually, he's telling me, this was his news, he said, Miss Jacqueline, I have met a beautiful lady. I have met this woman. She is called Miss Rowena, and she is from New Zealand. So this is what he's telling me. So Rowena was a nurse. She'd gone over volunteering as well. And whoever sold her the ticket from New Zealand, from being in Peru, she was then going on to America. When she got to the airport, they wouldn't let her on the plane because you have to have a visa to America, not Central America. She didn't know that. So he said, he phoned me, because I always get the pronouns mixed up. He phoned me and he said, hey, Sus, they no let me on the plane. Why I do? I am panicking. No. He said, I say her, Miss Rowena, you come, you stay in mi casa. No hankies panky. Anyway, they were Skyping each other backwards and forwards. And this is what he told me. Miss Jacqueline, I am engaged.
Oh,
To my heart, Miss Rosie. They got married, and they were supposed to be coming to me for a honeymoon. They got married on the 1st of the 1st, 2019, as COVID hit. And he's over there now, and he is madly in love.
Oh, that's such a divinely beautiful. Oh my gosh!
I love this picture. She's married. So he said, I said, you know, Jesus, I have to warn you. You told me that she's married. He said, yes. I said, you better be good to her, young man. I said, because if not, her brothers will break your legs. He said, see, Miss Jacqueline, they have told me.
Oh, that's so beautiful. Listen to all of these beautiful, divinely timed and placed stories. Everybody is supposed to connect when they're supposed to, whatever the circumstances. We bump into the people that are going to save our lives. We bump into the people that we're going to have relationships with. We bump into people that are going to heal us. We bump into people that are going to help connect us. And, you know, and I knew the reason, like, once I knew who you were, I was like, Jacqueline, I need to speak to you when you're better, because your book is going to be very important for me and going through the birthing, and also your wisdom, you know, like that's really, you know, why I was like, we really must keep connected. And then the more information that kept coming through as to what you've done, I was like, oh my God, this woman needs to be in my life. So let's just talk a little bit about, first and foremost, how do people find you, Jacqueline? Obviously, how I've got a lot of friends and people that follow me in Perth. If they want to get involved with the People Alliance stuff, how do they do?
Yes. We're on Telegram.
Okay.
What I'll do is, if I send it to you, you can put the link in below. So I think I actually sent you the picture,
which I can put in all my groups and stuff. I can do that, not a problem.
Yeah, because all the links are on there.
Perfect.
And if you send it to info, it'll get to me. Everything will get to me anyway. But why I absolutely wanted the book to get out there in the world is I wrote the book for my children.
Okay, let's just back up a sec. So you've written a book. So the People's Alliance is one thing. You've written a book on your experiences.
Yes, it's called All the Babes. Yeah, All the Babes of My Life, a Midwife Remembers. And the reason I wrote it was because the children knew I did babies, but they didn't know what that meant. And when I died, I wanted them to know I wasn't just somebody's wife or mother. I was a person in my own right. But why I want this book out to the world is these were ordinary working class women who got the births they wanted in an organization that didn't particularly want them to have this beautiful experience.
Yeah.
And obviously over the years in all the countries I've been in, this is where we're at now. Why I'm so passionate about birth in Perth is because the over-medicalization in the hospitals, women are terrified to go in. They do not want to have vaccines. They do not want to have unnecessary drugs. They do not want to be wearing bloody masks in labor. Just all the nonsense. And so what they're doing is they can't afford the 7,000 for a private midwife in the home. They can't afford 4,000 for a doula, who's a support person in labor. Now, can you see how that breaks my heart? Because a midwife should be mind, body, spirit. I went to a conference in America because doulas come from there, and I said to the American midwife, what do the doulas do at your birth? She said, well, ma'am, they take the juice out the job because they get to nurse the woman from the waist up, and we get the bit that's sued. So, but I've had to swallow my pride and say, if I can give women the births they want, then the damn title shouldn't matter. But because for me, it was a gift. I didn't see it as a gift at the time, but one of the saddest things I've ever done in my whole career as a midwife in 38 years was to put a dead baby in the arms of a woman at a home birth. Now, thank God there was nothing I could have done, should have done, or might have done to stop that, because this baby died hours before, probably the day before.
Oh, shit.
But that's what you need your qualified person for, to actually recognize the signs and to do something about it.
Yeah.
So if we can do that in a holistic way, using homeopathy and herbs and whatever, which I would not have been allowed to use in the hospital, I'm all for that. You see what I mean? But what's happening in Perth is people are saying, I can't afford any of that. I'm just going to free birth. And I'm like, so just you and your partner there. And I'm like, you're insane. What at this age now, I can't kneel on the floor and get into those twisted up positions. This physical body won't let me. But I want to get these midwives out of the hospitals, and I want them to birth in groups, in community. And I'll sit as the mentor over here up the corner.
Yeah.
You know, and
which is exactly what the elders do. They sit and they guide so that they're passing the wisdom forwards, and that's what's so important.
Lift her up, take her for a walk, do this, do that, because this is what I used to say to student midwives. That woman is too focused in going through this spiritual and physical journey. If you see her, get her a drink of water. She hasn't the energy to say, can you get me a drink, please? I'm thirsty. You have to watch her and anticipate her needs. So you're offering the water or the honey drink. She doesn't want it, she won't take it. Yeah. But to see, she hasn't got to think about it.
Yeah, just anticipate for wow, that's amazing.
So that's why it gels in now with the with PHA.
Yeah.
Because we have got to get away from money being the way of, and we all have to pay our bills. I get that. Yes. But by the same token, we've got to move away. We've got to be into bartering systems. We've got to be so that you've got a group of, say, 6 midwives who all work in this little hub together.
Yeah.
And then you're not going to get burnt out and exhausted.
Absolutely. Yeah. And what you just said about I call it energy exchanges. I feel that energy exchange is absolutely the currency of the future world. Like, you know, I appreciate that we have to have money right now because, like you say, we've got bills to pay and we've got stuff to do. But going forwards, it is going to be this energy exchange. And I think it's absolutely beautiful that you're recognizing that and looking to implement that. So, Jackie, obviously, I'll put all your contact details below. How do people get the book?
Well, again, I gave it to you, the Mark Upwood thing. Now, what's happening with when you go on to it's what's the site that he uses?
No idea.
Samcart.
Okay.
When you go onto Samcart, it says we want this information to go out to whoever needs it. The book is priced at I think $17 American because that's what Samcart use. However, pay what you can. And as much as I'm like, oh no, please pay the $17 because I need to recoup my so I have to finish that up. When I added up how much it cost me to come, the airfare, the Moroccan retreat, the insurance, all the stuff, I'm adding it up at 2 o'clock in the morning, and I literally threw the phone on the floor. It was 6,666.
Oh, sheesh. Sheesh.
Just get that much back and I recoup that.
Like,
so all of these are
we're bringing the divinity light back in now. Okay, your soul was a very sweet soul that day, and she did some really beautiful things and allowed me to go and do the things that I needed to do. And then I had to get the heck out of there, as you know, because things were getting a little bit hairy. But
Yes.
Jacqueline, I think you are absolutely amazing. As we step through the health series even more, I'm going to bring you back on and get your wisdom, because I am, as I was explaining to you offline before, I am big on fertility. I believe that we women and men are fertile beings, and I don't mean so we can have babies till we're 90 years of age. I mean we are a being that needs to be fertile, like Mother Earth is fertile, and we need to bring that back online. So I'm on a mission to raise consciousness on that at the moment, and I'm going to be doing it through a series called Health Matters. And so you're going to be coming back on. Everybody's going to get to see you. Everybody's going to love you, and they're all going to want you as their mum and their grandmother from here. And this video, if you might have seen me scribbling, grabbing for a pen earlier, there was 2 that didn't work, and I got the 3rd one because it came through to me very, very clearly that this video needs to be called The Gift of Life.
Wow, that's beautiful, because on this side of the technology I'm not so good at. I have a Facebook page because one of the things I was doing before I had the accident and haven't had energy coming back, it's called Flourishing and Empowering Wise Women, and we're all wise women. And I was doing workshops on reframing your birth experience, because as soon as people know I'm a midwife, it doesn't matter how many years ago you had your child, they will tell me that they go from a bit of a disappointment to complete trauma.
The horror stories, I've heard them all. They're like, I wouldn't do it if I was you, Lucy. And I'm like, whoa, hang on, you know, like this is, you know,
so
like
I get them to reframe it, to actually go back to that energy and to change it and bring it back to soul.
Perfect. Jacqueline, we're going to have to get you back on and talk about this so much more, because it's just absolutely unbelievable, the knowledge and wisdom that you've got. I know my followers are going to go wild for this, and they're going to be like, when can we have Jackie back on and hear some more of her wisdom? So ladies and gents, please do show your appreciation in the comments. Do hit the thumbs up button on YouTube and the like button on Rumble, and all of Jacqueline's details will be in the description on both. So please, please, please do check that out, and I will see you in the next video. Jacqueline, thank you so much. I'll speak to you in a sec. One sec. Thanks, everybody.